So anime to live action film adaptations are nothing new. In fact, it seems like every single time an anime gets really popular, some Hollywood exec somewhere is like, let's make this into a real film. And 9 times out of 10, those adaptations kind of suck. I mean, why is that though? Why is it so hard to translate anime into live action film? Or better yet, why are we not talking about methods and ways that we can do so? Now, you might think the only point of animation or anime is to reflect the real life, but there are so many differences between anime and real life that anime has become its own version of life, its own simulation. So it's not as simple as just making an animation real. You really have to understand the concepts and the storytelling methods that go behind animation in order to translate it into live action film and do a good job. Today, I want to talk about just one of those methods, a cinematic technique that I'm calling the anime close-up frame. When it's done well, I believe the anime close-up frame functions as something that's more than just a tool to give us an up-close look at a character or an object, but it functions as part of the storytelling. In fact, when done very well, it's almost like it's part of the character themselves. Anyway, so let's get into it. Lego. Now, a close-up shot is a type of camera shot that shows an object or a subject in a tight frame and focuses on details and expressions. We see when characters fall in love, when they lose their mind, when they make that decision that changes everything. So for this reason, the close-up shot usually focuses on our eyes. So the eyes are probably the most expressive parts of our body. I like the way that author and director Stephen Katz wrote it. The eyes are able to do silently what the mouth must largely do with words. Katz goes on to say that our eyes have their own language with all of its winking and glaring and squinting and everything in between. Eyes have their own language, and that language can function in tandem or independently of what our mouth is actually saying. Eyes direct action. Eyes tell us where, as an audience, we should be looking or what we should think is important. So it's very interesting to see how the intimacy of a close-up shot and the expressive power of our eyes can work together to make really incredible moments with characters. In anime, something different often happens. Directors use these shots to bring us in close to the character only to withhold that emotional intimacy. Instead of bringing us in for clarity, they leave us in this space of ambiguity. But I think that this actually adds to the narrative delivery and it doesn't take away from it. So let's look at some examples. So our first example comes from the anime series called Re:Zero, Starting Life in Another World. Now, in this introductory scene of this character, whom later we'll come to know of as Regulus Corneus, the entire time Regulus's face is hidden in this kind of fake shadow. We can see that Regulus's eyes have been omitted intentionally by the directors. We never once get to see his full facial expression. We know this because in other shots, his eyes are clearly evident, so it's not like the animation team just forgot to put his eyes on. But this is actually not the first time that the character has appeared in the series. Regulus appeared in previous episodes and in previous movies, so we actually do know what he looks like. Is it just the anime equivalent of a character suddenly donning a mask? No, I think actually the use of the eye omission and the close-up shots in this scene are used in order to instill this kind of sense of discomfort, this foreboding into the audience. The shadow that kind of falls over where his eyes should be is kind of like our signal to infer what Regulus's face would be saying, or what we think it's saying. Our only indications of what Regulus might be thinking comes from the slight curvature of his mouth, and that's it. One of my favorite series of all time is the anime series Sound Euphonium, and honestly, it's because of this specific cinematic technique. The director Tatsuya Ishihara uses this technique over and over again, and primarily with one character in particular, Asuka. Now, Asuka plays the role of the main character's senpai, like an older girl in school. But she's also much more than that. She stands for the main character's role model, someone the character kind of wants to be more like. And yet, throughout the series, we watch the main character, whose name is Kumiko. We watch her struggle with her relationship with Asuka because she can't really ever fully understand what Asuka is thinking. This is imparted on us multiple times throughout the series. What is Asuka thinking? What is going on in her head? And as Kumiko, the main character, continually battles with this question, we get these close-ups of Asuka's face during these highly emotionally intense moments. But at the same time, there will always be this shot where her eyes are emitted from the frame. So right when we hope to get more clarity on what on earth is going through this character's mind, Ishihara prevents us from getting that understanding by removing the most expressive parts of our bodies, Asuka's eyes, from the frame.
アスカ先輩がいいって。みんな？みんなって誰？それは。
Okay, so here's a scene from the 1958 film Murder by Contract that I think fits the theme that we're going for. In this scene, our main character goes to meet a potential contract. We see the main character go into the contract's house, and then we get this two-shot of both characters on the screen. Main character sits down and he remains fully visible, but the contract stands and his upper body is just out of sight. The shot continues, and then the potential contract sits, and he sits just out of screen and continues to talk. So our focus is on the main character, and yet we're wondering what's going on in this corner that we're not allowed to see. I think this adds to kind of the mystery of this man who is pretending to be completely clueless as to why the main character has come to his door, yet he knows much more than he should know. Another more recent example can be found in the 2023 film Barbie. Now, this scene is told through a series of single, medium close-up shots between both characters. This scene also features a mouth screen, an extreme close-up shot of Barbie's lips. But honestly, this shot, if anything, it's just to emphasize the fact that she's taking a breath. So again, these close-up shots, they're not really adding more to the story, but they definitely make it pleasant to look at. I think my point with this whole thing is that oftentimes we use the close-up shot like it's just like decoration. But I think it can be used in ways that really enhance our understanding of character, or our ability to use our own imagination in the process of storytelling. But it's not something that's just unique to anime. I think it's just something that is done more freely in that genre. So I would like to see it done more in live action films. Now granted, there's probably many films that are doing unique things with the close-up shot or different other shots. So I think in the future I would love to do more research on other types of films and see what people are doing and how they're using this unique tool. But for now, that's gonna be it. Thanks for watching. Peace.